So let's talk just a little bit about what is an ambidextrous organization. Ambidextrous organizations usually are equipped to handle certain kinds of tasks in a routine manner, but they can also handle exceptional circumstances in a different but equally efficient manner. Okay? So if we're thinking about a hurricane, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to read just a little bit from the article in a second, but if you're thinking about how the municipality could deal with things in an ambidextrous manner, you would have regulations that would read such as, in normal everyday circumstances, this is how you do stuff. On the other hand, if there is a hurricane, this guidance is suspended in favor of these other procedures. Or this guidance is totally suspended, and do what you think is best. You and the municipality have the authority and the discretion to do what you think. Okay. Another example of an ambidextrous organization. One of my first jobs when I got out of high school was working at I was actually a country club. It had like a hotel and a restaurant and stuff like that. The restaurant could easily handle everyday kinds of customers, right? So just people coming in to dine. At the same time, they were also equipped to handle things like weddings, banquets, and big events. This is also an example of ambidexterity. Events and event planning is a very different beast than just everyday people in a restaurant, but they were able to successfully achieve both, and therefore we have another kind of ambidextrous organization. So it's not, restricted to emergencies. But I like this moment of truth for the municipality starting on page 64. And one of the guys makes an interesting statement. He says, generally institutions are afraid to act because the cost and risk of being criticized for unauthorized action. But it's better to be criticized for acting too much than doing nothing. Okay? And so they worked hard and stuff. And then they wound up revisiting what happened. And they said, we brought up the learning experiences. Carlson tells us that after the flooding, the rescue leader and he got invited to go to other municipalities to share their lessons with them. After Goodwin, these kinds of requests have increased. We are quite satisfied with our achievement. I know we can do it again if necessary. And then we talk about how social capital happens. It says that the hurricane meant that it was not just about having context, but knowing that you could work together. When you reorganize and create space for action, you draw as many organization maps as you want, but if the personal relationships are not working, nothing can help you in an emergency situation. Social capital is decisive. You need to build the foundation, share the same values before you have to deal with the emergent situation, both inside and outside the organization. You think about that. Yes, they are perfectly capable of handling formalized, routine kinds of things, but when the going gets tough, social capital is the kind of thing when the phone gets picked up and you say, hey buddy, we just had a hurricane come through here. I know you're busy. Can you help me out? And the answer is yes. Right? I've always thought about this, like in the Army, for example, and I think also in other branches of the Federal Civil Service, you take a lot of your professional education courses with members of other militaries, both within the United States and outside. So I was stationed at Fort Leavenworth. I was not in the prison, but I was working there. And there's a major's college there, the Command and General Staff, or Command and General CGSC, Command and General, no, CGSC. Something I haven't thought about in a long time, and I can't remember what it was. It was CGS. I don't remember what it stands for now. If any of you can remember, post it in the comments down below. But it was basically a year-long course that majors went to, just to learn how to write orders and other things. And at CGSC, there were their equivalents, like there were Marine majors there. There were lieutenant commanders from the Navy, there were majors from the Air Force, but there were also lots and lots of majors from militaries all over the world. Someone told me that every country in the world sent majors to that college, except I think Zimbabwe and North Korea. I think they didn't send anybody. And by the same token, a lot of Army majors, not a lot, at least some, get to go to the Majors College of an allied nation. And I think the idea is that once these guys, as they stay in the ranks, let's say we go to war, these are our allies, it can be very helpful, like if you become a general and you have a friend who's like a general in the French Army, and you pick up the phone and say, hey buddy, we're both going to be in Afghanistan together, let's find some way to work together and keep each other alive. That's a very powerful thing. especially in things like wars, which are almost by definition emergencies. So that's where this social capital comes in, because it helps you with an ambidextrous organization. In this example, it's not clear that they actually initially started to have deliberate ambidexterity until you see on page 65 under reflections, they say they developed a dual municipal structure, one that copes with routine operations and one that enters the scene in case of emergency. These parallel structures seem to infuse entrepreneurship into a public structure. So initially it was a social capital that permitted collaboration during emergency, but then later on it facilitated the writing of regulations, manuals, etc., so that they were able to cope with both. So basically, make friends everywhere you go. Hope you've enjoyed this particular video. Our final video for this playlist, we'll talk about temporary organizations and the role of emergency entrepreneurship. Give me a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe, and make sure you comment down below. I'll see you in the next video.